into, I guess, Vince's role as being the power broker in WWE, him and, of
Sure.
course, his wife, Stephanie, and Vince's daughter. But your thoughts on that transition, and what changes do you anticipate when kind of Triple H is fully in charge of the company?
Well, that's another reason I'm pretty sure I will not be returning there anytime soon. If again, Hunter was always pretty glaringly, obviously jealous of certain individuals. I'm not saying he was jealous of me, but I could tell he was envious of Van Dam. He was extremely envious of Van Dam's success. He was envious of Van Dam's personality. He was envious of the way that everyone gravitated towards Rob because they liked being around Rob. He was very positive. And you know, the most glaring is that, you know, the work rate. Hunter's had the same matches his whole career. You know, and the way I see it, if a guy is so damn tough, why does he need a sledgehammer all the time? You know, I mean, honestly, why does he need a sledgehammer?
I've had that argument with so many people. How do you, from a wrestling fan perspective, how do you buy a sledgehammer? I mean, a sledgehammer could kill somebody.
Yeah, how do you
why don't you just have a gun?
Yeah, and how do you justify why this guy is such a badass if he always has a weapon? You know, I just think it's absurd. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something. So, you know, Hunter always kept a thumb on me because he knew that I was kind of more of like a Rob type guy. I was one of Rob's guys. I was always kind of hanging out with Rob. And so I think, you know, like, for example, I remember seeing Van Dam get in Hunter's face. Hunter made a smart remark at a meeting about Rob having the munchies or something like that, trying to pop the audience or trying to pop the room. Well, Hunter's kind of like that nerd who throws out a joke expecting the room to start laughing, but he ends up being the only one kind of laughing at his own joke. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
He's that guy. So he made this munchie comment in a meeting one time and chuckled to himself, expecting everyone else to just erupt and laugh, but nobody did. And Rob, you know, met up with him, or, you know, confronted him after and was like, hey, are we friends? You know, are we boys? Can you make jokes like that to me? Are we close? I don't think so, you know. Oh, no, Rob was just like, he was like, and Rob got in his face. And it was great to just see Hunter just cower, just shrink, you know, because he knew he'd gotten his ass whipped, just totally whipped. So fast forwarding to your question, Hunter's obviously moved himself into this position because he knows that his ring work lacks. He knows that if he continues to wrestle, he's just going to expose himself more and more, especially with the new talent that's coming in. Danielson and, like, all the guys in the Shield and all that stuff. I mean, phenomenal wrestlers. They're going to expose the hell out of him. So I think he knows this, and he wants to keep himself on top. So that's why he's putting himself in a position of power more than he already has. I mean, the guy married his way into the company. But the thing I think is the funniest and most telling thing about Triple H is that, I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, I think it was THQ, they released the memo that WWE had sent them when they were supposed to promote their game, saying you can promote it all you want. Show pictures, stills of the game, everything. The one thing you can't do is show wrestler Triple H, because they had to clarify to THQ, because THQ is like, I don't know who the fuck this is. You can show any pictures, you just cannot show wrestler Triple H in a helpless or defenseless manner. So they're protecting this prick in the video games. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And THQ, I think, went around and just said, okay, screw it, and did a still of him in a helpless or defenseless manner anyways, because they thought it was ridiculous. And I think that's maybe what ended the partnership with the last video game maker that did all their games and everything. I might be way off, but that was, I think it's pretty accurate if I remember correctly. It doesn't surprise me just because I know how Hunter is. But I just think he's really bad for business. I mean, he's really good for that company because that company is in its own little bubble. But he wouldn't survive in wrestling outside of WWE. There's no way. There's no way. You know, you never saw him in Japan or international, you know, anywhere. He was always tucked up right next to the boss. You know, even in WCW he tried. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan.